The Democrats don't want to play defense. They're going to try to stay on offense. You will see a generation of very hard-hearted young men because they're tired of being yelled at, told that they're racist, told that their political views are like Nazis and Hitler, and they're just not going to stand for it anymore. I read a story the other day online, or actually saw a video where Vice President J.D. Vance said the first time he met Charlie Kirk was when J.D. Vance did an episode on Tucker Carlson. After the episode, he got a text from Charlie Kirk that said, "Hey, good job." Those guys developed a friendship that was pretty deep. And so in the last day or so, I think probably one of the first episodes back of Charlie Kirk's podcast, our wonderful vice president hosted it very admirably and intelligently like he is. And so I wanted to play this video for you, give you my reaction. We'll talk about it and see what we can gain from it. Go ahead and start it.
I really do believe that we can come together in this country. I believe we must. But unity, real unity, can be found only after climbing the mountain of truth. And there are difficult truths we must confront in our country. One truth is that 24% of self-described, quote, very liberals believe it is acceptable to be happy about the death of a political opponent, while only 3% of self-described very conservatives agree. 3% is too many, of course. Another truth is that 26% of young liberals believe political violence is sometimes justified, and only 7% of young conservatives say the same. Again, too high a number. In a country of 330 million people, you can of course find one person of a given political persuasion justifying this or that or almost anything. But the data is clear. People on the left are much likelier to defend and celebrate political violence. This is not a both sides problem. If both sides have a problem, one side has a much bigger and malignant problem, and that is the truth we must be told. That problem has terrible consequences. The leader of our party, Donald J. Trump, escaped an assassin's bullet by less than an inch. Our House Majority Leader, Stephen Scalise, came within seconds of death by an assassin himself. And now, the most influential conservative activist in generations, our friend Charlie, has been murdered. This violence, it doesn't come from nowhere. Now, any political movement, violent or not violent, is a collection of forces. It's like a pyramid that stacks on top, one support on top of the other. That pyramid's got a foundation of donors, of activists, of journalists, now of social media influencers, and of course of politicians. Not every member of that pyramid would commit a murder. In fact, over 99% I'm sure would not. But by celebrating that murder, apologizing for it, and emphasizing not Charlie's innocence, but the fact that he said things some didn't like, even to the point of lying about what he actually said, many of these people are creating an environment where things like this are inevitably going to happen. A couple of months ago, I headlined a fundraiser in Southern California, and since, we'd be out there anyways, my wife and I decided to take our kids to Disneyland one weekend. We had fun, and to be clear, most of the guests said very nice things, or they just left us alone. But there was a loud and very cool minority that would shout at my children, who were 8, 5, and 3, whenever they got the opportunity. "You should disown your dad, you little shit," one middle-aged woman yelled at my 5-year-old. "Tell the Secret Service to protect the..."
Hold on. JD, you're a better man than I am. This is absurd. What he's saying, I think we can all agree on, is that we can have our differences. I'm wrong, you're wrong, I'm right, you're right. But the reality of it is whenever you're getting loud and vocal and nasty, just nasty, this man's got his doggone kids there, and you want to disrespect him and his kids. Like, what do you think that's going to do when that kid gets older and he sees those videos? All you're doing is hardening his heart. All you are doing is making him more solidified in his position. If this rhetoric, this type of political rhetoric continues, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You you will see a generation of very hard-hearted young men because they're tired of being yelled at, told that they're racist, told that their political views are like Nazis and Hitler, and they're just not going to stand for it anymore. They are good, hardworking Americans that work, want to have a good family and a good paying job, and then you're just constantly berating them over the top of the head with these lies and incendiary comments. This is not going to turn out good in the generations to come. I'm gonna go on record saying that. Let's finish this up.
Constitution, not your father, screamed another. Are these women violent? Probably not. Are they deranged? Certainly. And while our side of the aisle certainly has its crazies, it is a statistical fact that most of the lunatics in American politics today are proud members of the far left. After Charlie died, one of his friends and one of our senior White House staffers had left-leaning operatives in his neighborhood passing out leaflets telling people what he looked like and where he lived, encouraging neighbors to harass him or, God forbid, to do worse. While he was mourning his dead friend, he and his wife had to worry about the political terrorists drawing a big target on the home he shares with his young children. Are these people violent? I hope not. But are they guilty of encouraging violence? You damn well better believe it. We can thank God that most Democrats don't share these attitudes, and I do, while acknowledging that something has gone very wrong with a lunatic fringe, a minority, but a growing and powerful minority on the far left. There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree.
Here's something that just really stands out to me.
I really do believe.
At what point do we say that there's no unity? At what point do we say that all of the Democrats aren't like this? I've said this before in some videos. If you are a part of the party that they claim and they cling to, at what point are you going to distance yourself? You're guilty by association. There is a far left and a far right fringe, but both sides have to denounce them and alienate them, and they have to come out very vocal about it. But the Democrats don't want to play defense. They're going to try to stay on offense. So they're not going to admit any of their issues, and they're not going to admit that they do have a fringe element to them, because there's a lot of ambiguity there. Where does that fringe begin? And where does how do you differentiate between the fringe and the mainstream? And the mainstream's not stepping up, disowning them. So at some point, every Democrat's going to be considered the far left and the fringe of their party. See you next video.